Welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the pSTABLEs from the perspective of Maria. So I have covered this in previous chat logs, but I think now actually hearing Maria talk about it, listening to it again and again, and being able to convey it to the market is really going to be helpful to you and beneficial to you to actually understand what's going on here and the magic that's actually happening within the Atropa ecosystem. So we're going to talk about the pSTABLE opportunities, where they're at now, the potential risks, but also how this can actually be achieved and accomplished and how it can actually be stabilized in the way that Maria is actually talking about it, or speculating that it could potentially be stabilized. So you'll also notice I do have a couple of little props here. So we got a little play school lesson coming up as well. So, okay. Now, I have to say it for this one. This is just mindset for investing, trading, and life. It's personal opinion only. It's entertainment purposes only. It's not financial advice. Okay. Now, the pSTABLE Pegenning, the greatest narrative in all of crypto. And when I say that, I genuinely mean it. I genuinely mean that this is the greatest narrative in all of crypto. If it can be accomplished, this is the first ecosystem, the first blockchain on the planet, which will have created a fully decentralized stablecoin without any collateral backing from real world assets. It's 100% backed by decentralized cryptocurrency assets. So it will be a world first. It will be the biggest talking point in cryptocurrency. It will be the biggest narrative. When and if it is achieved, it will be the biggest narrative. And actually, I'm just going to talk about it as when, because that's also how Maria talks about it, as when. And when you think about the fact that a lot of this has been tested on the Pulse chain testnet, I imagine that it potentially did reach that point on the testnet. It was being tested. So I think the when is really the important thing, not the if. So first of all, the prices. If we just have a look at the prices here, DAI at the moment, 6.006 cents. So it's almost 1 cent. It's getting there. This is an all-time high today again. So it's broken its all-time high. Also, PUSDT, PUSDC, also broken their all-time highs. So it's currently sitting at a third of a cent, and then essentially a third of a cent as well, both sitting at around about a third of a cent, and this is a sixth of a cent. So pDAI is really running away from the pack because pDAI is the one that's been the most talked about from the start. So when we talk about pDAI, it ends in 1D0F. The contracts for these tokens are the same contracts as the ones on Ethereum. These are the forked stable coins that start with zero value, and the target is $1. Now, I look at this and I go, well, why does everybody keep buying pDAI? There's opportunity in USDT and USDC. They're a lot cheaper. You can pretty much get 50% more by buying these. But people keep thinking that DAI stablecoin is the cheapest one. And I'm not here to FUD DAI stablecoin. It could potentially be the most safest, but I don't actually believe it is based on how Maria's talking about it. So now going to the cute little things here. So if we say, it's reverse here. So DAI, USD, USDT, USDC. Now, the reason why Maria talks about these is going up together and being in benefit for the only key measurement for the health of the whole Atropa ecosystem and really Pulse chain at large is if these go up together and these stabilize together. But everybody keeps buying DAI because it's the one that screams the loudest and it's the one that Richard Hart likes the most. So it's perceived as having the least amount of risk. But they will go up together, whether we want them to or not. It doesn't matter. They will go up together. And how does that actually happen? Because all these tokens are bonded to a lot of different other tokens. So when this is bonded to an ecosystem of tokens, this is also bonded to an ecosystem of tokens, and this also. And then the ecosystem of tokens that they're connected with are also connected with each other. So arbitrage bots actually arbitrage the prices in between, stabilizing things. So as a lot of value flows into DAI, yes, the market is putting a lot more value into that, but automatically, even without people buying the other two, they're also going up with it because the arbitrage bots are arbitraging the price between the assets that are bonded to these pSTABLEs or these future pSTABLEs. And so as it's doing that, they're getting lifted up with it. So this is how the liquidity bonding works. So this is how the Atropa ecosystem is working to actually bring the whole value of the pSTABLEs up. So we're almost at the 1 cent mark. The 1 cent mark is a key pinnacle level. It's a key psychological level. After that, we have the 10 cent, then the 50 cent, and then of course the $1 mark. So, man, it's the best narrative for a whole bunch of reasons. And I'm going to share a very good passage with you at the end about why I think this is like on the same caliber as something as revolutionary as Uber. And so now let's continue on with the episode. So again, if I look at this, I see opportunity with USDT and USDC. They're the ones that I've been slowly chipping away at. And I've also been ratio trading between DAI and USDT and USDC with the expectation that, again, Maria talks about them all stabilizing at approximately the same time. To the all-time high, DAI is only 40%, less than 40% away from the all-time high against Pulse Chain. So it's almost broken its Pulse Chain all-time high. So this is very, very, very bullish for the whole ecosystem. Some are speculating that it's going to now just be all the way up. Personally, full caveat, I actually don't think it will be all the way up. I do think that we are going to have some pullbacks along the way, if not some interim kind of bear periods where it's just going to be kind of down and sideways for a month or two. And I certainly hope that is the case, so it can actually help others get into the ecosystem and benefit from it as well. So, but it's whichever way it happens, it's going to be good either way. Okay, so now pDAI and the fork. So the reason why pDAI is the biggest is because pDAI captured the most attention because this is Richard's favorite stablecoin. Also, he says the other two have admin keys. This one doesn't have admin keys, so it can't actually be switched off. But Richard also did say pDAI doesn't have admin keys. The other two do, but if anything did happen to those two, the people can actually come out and sue Tether and Circle. So really, it minimizes the risk. And also, Maria, in my opinion, gives a very good explanation as to why this won't happen in the first case. So the forks PRC20s is what sparked Maria's imagination on how the stables could be pegged, because the whole system state of Pulse Chain is a copy of Ethereum, as everybody hopefully by now should know. And if you're new to the channel, this is what makes Pulse Chain a revolution on every single other blockchain. It didn't start as a ghost chain. It started as a fork of Ethereum and copied the system state, including all the tokens, or the selected tokens anyway. So it was a majority of the tokens minus all the scams and the rug pull tokens. People have actually been researching this from day one with on-chain analysis. There's goats who have been researching this. So 99 Capital, I've done a few videos of 99 Capital and how he's broken this down. He's showed evidence about why he believes certain people are behind it. I'm not going to speculate on who those people are that are behind doing this or that in relation to pDAI. DAI on Pulse Chain, we're going to call it. As a matter of fact, DAI on Pulse Chain, I'm going to start referring to it as DAI on Pulse Chain. So pDAI, there is a token called pDAI. I'm going to stop referring to it as pDAI. I'm going to start calling it DAI on Pulse Chain. And one of the original goats who was exploring all of this in relation to the forked stablecoins was Hodlnomics. So I'm actually going to be having an interview with Hodlnomics on my Saturday, and it's going to be American Friday night. So I believe it's going to be 7:30 Central Standard Time, I believe. So you'll see something confirming that in any case. So keep your eyes out for that. So Atropa and the pSTABLEs. This is what got me interested in the pSTABLEs. When I started to hear about Atropa, I knew nothing about the pSTABLEs. I really knew nothing about DAI on Pulse Chain. I knew nothing about those narratives. I only started finding it with Atropa. And so I actually view, this is what Maria said, I view all pSTABLEs as being required for the system to work. He was also relating this not just to the Atropa ecosystem, but for Pulse Chain to be deemed a success, the pSTABLEs need to reach parity. The Pulse Chain stablecoins need to reach parity with their Ethereum counterparts in order for Pulse Chain to be deemed a success. So if you have faith in Maria, if you have faith in Maria's vision, then it just gives me faith that the dollar is an inevitability. How it stays there, yet to be seen, but it gives me faith that it is an inevitability. The only elements important to the health of the Atropa ecosystem is the health of the pSTABLEs. So in the interviews that I've been breaking down, this is something that Maria spoke about. Each individual token, their individual health is not important. What's actually important to that ecosystem is the health of the pSTABLEs. As long as the pSTABLEs keep going up and reach the dollar, then the Atropa ecosystem has succeeded as an ecosystem. He also, as I mentioned, said that they will arrive at the $1 mark around about the same time. Currently, because of the way that we're seeing the market value DAI on Pulse Chain, it's more likely going to reach there first, but the others will be very, very close behind. If not, well, they're going to be very, very close behind. And there's probably going to be some very savvy people who are going to arbitrage that opportunity with the realization that the others are also eventually going to peg. So they're going to probably sell their DAI into some of these and ratio trade into some of those. I certainly would be doing that if I saw that there was a 50% discrepancy between the two, as there currently is. Maria also said USDT on Pulse Chain, so pUSDT, is currently more valuable than the others because it's a lot cheaper and for the very specific reason for its future development. So I have showed this in a previous video, but I'll show it again. So again, this map, this is only just a very small portion of the map. We're still waiting to see like a big map of all the tokens, how they interrelate. But Maria had Steady Pup emphasize the whoops, let's go back there for a second. What happened here? Why can't I go back? Oh, excuse me. All right, here we go. So something happened there. So I'm going to get my little pen here. Can I thicken this bad boy up? No. All right, it's just going to give me what it's going to give me. I'll put it as a nice friendly color. So Maria emphasized this to Steady Pup when he had the meeting with Maria. Maria also emphasized, again, USDT in the meeting with the Europeans. Now, what's the reason for that? The reason for that is currently the rest of the stables, so we have pUSDC, we have pDAI. These are connected with Atropa. And this whole ecosystem, it's not complete. It's going to keep being built out. But this whole system has been built out to provide collateral backing for those pSTABLEs. So everything centers on, just like Maria said, the health of those pSTABLEs. So this whole entire system is built for the pSTABLEs. So these two pSTABLEs are within this existing system. The next system to be built out, so the next opportunity is going to be Mantisa and pUSDT. So the fact pUSDT is so cheap, the fact nobody's talking about Mantisa, the Telegram is still less than 100 people, it's growing little bit by little bit. The fact it has a freaking sweet logo. I mean, that is the sickest. That's like, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, a lot of these logos are pretty sick, but that's a dope logo. So this is going to have, in the same way that this has got a whole system, it's going to eventually have a whole system built around it in the same way that this system is built around Atropa and pUSDC and pDAI. So this is the opportunity here. This is what Maria is actually talking about. This is what I've been paying attention to. This is why I have a lot more pUSDT than I have of any of the other stables. Okay, and also because it just so happens to be the cheapest. Okay. So now moving on. Why is my arrow markers not working? Okay, so the risks. Let's logically go through the risks and address those risks, not as an issue that something could go wrong, but the risks that were being asked by the participants in the meeting with Maria have been addressed by Maria. So I think that a lot of them have been put to bed. So I really like that. So first of all, the pUSDT and pUSDC, they're not sure how they can, Maria's not sure how they can actually turn it off. They could brick it off. So they could brick it off because they have access to anything that is connected through that code. So that same contract address, which obviously these contract addresses are the same as the contract addresses on Ethereum. So they could brick off this portion. But if they were to brick off this portion of the supply, it's actually going to negatively affect their existing ecosystem. It's going to negatively affect the stable coins on Ethereum and the other chains that it's actually connected to. So it would break USDT, as Maria said. And if that's what he says, I'd trust that. I'm sure someone who has a brain like his has already worked out that if they were to do this, this would happen. I'm sure he's already worked that out and put a lot of thought into it. That you can never have 100% certainty. This is like nothing is ever 100% certain, but as certain as you could possibly be, I think he's as certain as he could possibly be once he's actually started with this system. And I think also the reason why it has centered around DAI is because it is quote unquote the least riskiest, but he did emphasize that he doesn't see any way, there's no sane reason to actually approach this, because any way that they do it or that he's theorized or he's tried to speculate on breaks the system, breaks their existing system. Therefore, at the moment, what's actually happening is with DAI, USDC, and USDT, they're actually designed to be classified as securities. This is what we want. So if the goal of the pSTABLEs is to follow suit, then it's actually being set up in the right way and following a very good energetic trajectory, a way that Maria says feels right. So if these current stables are deemed security, which they're set up to be deemed securities, that's what they actually want. They want to be set up as being securities. Then it's very bullish for the pSTABLEs because all they're doing is following the same system, the same laws. It's actually created these as securities. So if they are deemed as securities, this is actually very, very good for the pSTABLEs. It actually makes them an exceptionally safe investment. If they already were deemed securities, it would be even bullish, but they will eventually be deemed security, and it's tracking along in the right kind of path. So now let's actually hear what Maria has to say in relation to this. So I'll let him do the talking with the questions.
See a way of lawsuit going bad. We are deemed security. They stop USDC, USDT, real wrap Bitcoin. They stop everything else. Do you see a way of our pSTABLEs? Then it's time for us, for Richard, to bring the money over, and
from my perspective,
it becomes really decentralized after
USDC, USDT, DAI, they've all done the right thing. We're not, even if they get classified, they're designed to be classified as securities.
Yep.
They're designed to be classified as fixed income securities. If the goal is to establish them as that, then these lawsuits are what's going to happen. So if the lawsuits are being set up on purpose to get that to go through, from the perspective of legislatively taking everything over in the right way, that's the way we have to do it.
No.
As fixed income securities. If the goal is to establish them as that, then these lawsuits are what's going to happen. So if the lawsuits are being set up on purpose to get that to go through, from the perspective of legislatively taking everything over in the right way, that's the way we have to do it. And it's happening at a reasonably and from a feel-wise, like, it's at the right pace. Like,
but the way
I assume that that's what's happening.
The way I see it as well, I think we actually getting prepared to actually be deemed to security. If we gain IPPFs, and if we gain Atropa, we're never layer 2, and if we're trying to hide everything else, if we are deemed to security and everyone finds out we're actually really decentralized, and we can bring our pSTABLEs to stablecoins,
if we can be the
then
first
won't we be the first people to do that?
If we can also be the first people to define to the public what a security on the public record is, then that's the biggest value of all. Because that puts us in a position to say, well, we have the numbers to show we're better than everyone else.
That's huge, by the way. That's massive. I think that is much more massive than we actually give it credit for. If that actually does come to fruition, that is massive, because by the law, we're actually, if we are deemed a security, that's fine. And we actually have the numbers to say this is why we are. And it actually then therefore becomes something that is clearly defined in the law for the very first time and on the blockchain verified as the law. So this is very, very huge. It's actually a massive, massive thing.
Will they risk it, deem us a security, then they can't stop it? And that a risk for the government? I mean, how can you deem someone a security but you cannot stop the system? Won't that be a failure for the government to do that? You can't really stop it. We ain't got no domain.
For a fascist government, maybe. Not for a democratic government.
for a fascist government. Okay, all right. Stabilizing the peg. So how does Maria talk about it could possibly be stabilized? So Maria was talking about there's all this money during the sacrifice phase that actually left the market. So they were talking about the whole value that was in Hex, and then that left Hex and it went into this sacrifice pool. But that money actually left the market. So it left Ethereum, Bitcoin, Hex, it left the market. And so it's somewhere out there in the market. So he's speculating one of the potential ways that it could stabilize is that some of that money will come back into the market. So I'm thinking, could the sacrifice wallet come into play? Is that what he's also thinking? Could the sacrifice wallet come into play to stabilize it? Is that some of the money that's left the market? Or he also talks about there's big investors at the moment everywhere in cryptocurrency, but at the moment it's far too risky for them to participate in Pulse Chain because it's such a young chain. He refers to this chain as being less than 2 years old. We have the whole issues with the SEC, the uncertainty with Richard Hart. But if it all gets resolved, again, we have the numbers, we have the data to actually be deemed from that point on one of the safest investments. Because if it is a security and it's by law deemed a security, then that's it. We have the safety after that point moving forward. So everything can work out after that. Maria is actually not too familiar with the MakerDAO, with what's happening with the MakerDAO contract. So it's almost like they're two completely separate things. Whether there'll be some kind of unity in the end, I have no idea, but they're two separate things. So the goal of the Atropa ecosystem is to provide the backing collateral for the pSTABLEs. And this is something that the people who are very mega bullish on pDAI and the MakerDAO contract have treated as, they haven't really looked at Atropa as being the collateral. They've looked at it in a different way. I've never really been super in tune with the whole MakerDAO and everything going on there. I've only really been in tune with the Atropa ecosystem a lot. So very interesting to see how that could potentially play out. So these are some of the ways that it could stabilize. Maria was also talking about MEV bots and how they can arbitrage opportunities, which he hasn't actually seen yet. So again, it makes me think possibly there is some kind of a future where the stabilization comes through creating some kind of bot that does this infinite buy sell algorithm between the three pSTABLEs to keep them stabilized. So we'll continue to arbitrage between those pSTABLEs faster than anyone can actually buy out any particular stable. Because again, once it's $1 and everyone's like, okay, this is as far as it's going to go, then people aren't going to be flooding into the pSTABLE for the sake of owning it to get to $1. They're really just going to be parking their money there. They're going to be parking their profits there. And if all three are pretty much $1, then why would I just stick to pDAI? Why would I stick to DAI on Pulse Chain when I can go USDT on Pulse Chain or USDC on Pulse Chain? So it's really going to, there'll be like a natural equilibrium between the market participants, the fact that there's going to be a complete diminishment of buy pressure because we've achieved that goal of reaching the $1. And potentially there could be some sort of bot, like I said, that continuously between the three assets just buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, like infinitely faster than anyone can do anything to kind of really keep the prices algorithmically stabilized like this. I'm not too sure. I'm not a math whiz. So, okay. Also wanted to very quickly share my Atropa logos. So I'd love, if you're watching this, you didn't watch my other one, I would just quickly go through this. So I have been coming up with some Atropa logos. We don't have an Atropa logo. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. My favorite is 3. And the very big reason is obviously the root system is like the liquidity that feeds into the Atropa plant. And the Atropa plant is the 3 pSTABLEs. So I really love number 3, not necessarily the colors, but I love the design. I absolutely love it. I woke up thinking about it. I went to bed thinking about it. I put it on some merchandise and it looked absolutely boss. So this is what it looks like on the bootleg merch. It looks freaking sweet. So I think this has got some work to do, the Pegenning, but things like this, man, I could see myself wearing this. I could see myself having a t-shirt like this and wearing it to the gym. I like wearing those types of clothes to the gym. I don't wear like tank tops and all that kind of stuff. I wear like, you know, I wear like a meditation t-shirt to the gym because I want to be like a signboard at the gym. And the same thing, like I'll be a signboard for the Atropa ecosystem for Pulse Chain. Just like my bottle, it's a little dilapidated at the moment, but you can still see it. Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Pulse, it's all there. So something on the hat as well. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that. So I'm going to finish with a book reading. So I hope, before I get into the book reading, so I'll just get this out of the way because it's probably going to get in the way of the book. The thing about the pSTABLEs is, again, Maria doesn't talk about pDAI. Maria talks about pSTABLEs. So have a look at this. Look, because you guys love the jars. I love them too, man. Look at this. Look how beautiful you can see the root systems in there. So this is called a mother's tongue. Absolutely gorgeous. I got these all over my meditation center. So everybody loves them. They got the vibe, man. So I'm all about I'm really glad that they're providing utilitarian purpose as well. So again, Maria always talks about pSTABLEs, doesn't talk about pDAI, pSTABLEs. So it's about the three. So don't sleep on the other two. There's massive opportunities in all of them. So that's all I'm going to say. Not financial advice. You do you. pDAI is probably still potentially the safest. It has the least amount of risk, but still, I think there's opportunity in the others. So again, DAI CEO, the Uber, the reason why this is the Uber. So I've picked this little part because I feel like this really resonates with what we're doing with the pSTABLE. So talking about the psychological moonshot of Uber. So this is very interesting. In their research, Uber Labs discovered several key psychological principles that impact a customer's satisfaction with Uber and their perception of the overall experience. The peak end rule, idleness aversion, operational transparency, uncertainty anxiety, and the goal-orientated effect. Understanding these 5 powerful psychological forces allowed Uber to completely redesign an entire industry and create a business valued at $120 billion. And they turned the whole industry upside down. I don't know about you guys. I always thought about this idea. I speculated on it with friends, rideshare. Then Uber actually came out and did it. These are goal-orientated effect. So there's a destination. I'm going to see where I'm going to. I'm going to see how long it's going to take me. It reduces the uncertainty of anxiety by, I know when the vehicle is going to come and pick me up. So it reduces that uncertainty, anxiety of a taxi. That was a massive psychological thing. And so if we think about that, so the idleness aversion, you can actually see the car as well, all these little things. So I wanted to choose that because part of the psychology of that is really being implemented with the pSTABLEs. We have a goal. We have a $1 goal. It's not like, it's a very clearly defined goal. It's not like, oh, this could go up and at any minute somebody's going to rug. So how does that actually make the market participate? It actually makes people willing to hold to $1. I'm not selling. The only reason why I would sell is to accumulate more. So I would only sell, honestly, when it gets to 1 cent, I'm going to sell a portion of my bag so that I can buy more at a dip. That's the only reason why. Same again at 10 cents, same again at 50 cents. And then I'm probably also going to be doing the same at $1 as well, because as much as I'd love for people, if we just said, hey, don't sell at $1, let's see what's going to happen. There's going to be people selling at $1, just like BFF to 8K. It's going to happen. So I'm going to take advantage of those opportunities so I can accumulate more. And because I suspect everybody else is going to do it. I'm not going to be doing it to dump the price. I'm not going to be selling my full bags just to accumulate more. But the thing is, in my mind, there's a clear target. It's a $1 target. And the rest of the market also has that clear target in their mind. It's a $1 target. So there's no anxiety about where we're going. There's no uncertainty about where we're going. We have a very clear, goal-orientated destination. This is what makes the Atropa ecosystem and the pSTABLE so unique. This is what makes it one of the best narratives in cryptocurrency, if not the best narrative in cryptocurrency. And I really do believe in the bottom of my heart, in the future, when we do hit that $1 mark, think about how big it was with, what was the one? Do Kwon, Terra Luna. Everybody loved that. Everybody spoke about that. Rand Nuna, they all talked about it, but they all got burnt and it failed. So how are they actually going to talk about the pSTABLEs if they ever do stabilize to that $1 mark? How's the market going to respond? What's Ivan on Tech going to say? He's been too busy focusing on, I don't know, Solana and whatever else he's focusing on, that he hasn't even looked at Pulse Chain. These guys are really missing out on the opportunities that are happening right before our eyes. Look at the devs. Look at the intelligence of the devs, man. Go listen to Maria talk. Like, I love this ecosystem. It's the best ecosystem. We're going to get to $1. I think it's, I'm just going to say when. For me, it's a matter of when. So I'll see you guys there. Take care. Oh, and again, yeah, the merch, the logos, please, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one do you like? Would you consider buying that merch? Again, with that merch, 100% of the profits are going to go back into buying into the Atropa ecosystem. In what way, in what manner, I have no idea yet. I would have to work all that out. But if people do think that they're going to buy it, I'll put the effort into actually creating that. So with that, take care, everybody. Thank you very much.